Hey, here we go. Check this out.
This is Whole Nother Level with Dwayne Lindo.
You know, frankly, I feel that we shouldn't even be talking about this. Simple as that.
The great L. Bushman.
They'd have to make so many adjustments, but I don't know what they have to do. They need a miracle.
Frank Mazzei.
Did they win the offseason in free agency? Yes. What does that mean? Absolutely nothing.
Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Craig Cousin.
How can you not put Tom Brady number one on the Mount Rushmore of quarterbacks? Man, this guy's a legend. Rings speak.
And Derek Wilson.
I didn't know Eric was going to let you talk.
Don't hate the player, hate the game. I've seen enough Facebook posts to know that you're not a Giants fan. Let's go.
And welcome, everyone, to another edition of Whole Nother Level right here at Old School. This is the divisional round of the playoffs, and we are Whole Nother Level. I am joined by our girl, Kristen, in the building with us. Kristen, what's going on? How are you?
Hello. Nice to see you guys. Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday to you. We started a little late today. Gave everybody time to get up and get situated and get here. Sitting next to her, her left, is the man who I'm sure is in a great mood today.
Oh, yeah,
Craig
baby.
Cousin.
Victory Sunday.
Had a great night last night. We're going to touch on that. We got a special guest with us today. He just goes by Pinto. I mean, that's all I know him by is just...
I've been going by that since I was this big.
All right, so Pinto in the building with us. We're going to need you to speak into the mic a little more.
I will do
Okay,
that.
there we go. And the great L. Bushman's running the board, doing it all for us, trying to fix the feedback here. But we are live at Old School. Carl is getting everything set up for the game that's getting ready to start here in about a little over an hour and a half. The Green Bay Packers against my hated rivals, the Dallas Cowboys. I want to say big shout out to our two friends, Jack and our one true fan, Steve, who's normally here with us every Sunday at 11:30. Steve has stuck around all day long just to be with us. The internet sensation of 2017, ladies and gentlemen. Give it up for our one true fan, Steve. There he is. There he is. Shout out to our girl Danielle behind the bar. Make sure y'all take care of her as well. But we are Whole Nother Level. And Craig, since you had such a great night last night, so I want to start the conversation with you because normally when a team, more importantly when an offense commits 3 turnovers, normally they don't win the game.
Yeah.
However, this is Tom Brady and the New England Patriots. And for Tom Brady to have 2 interceptions, the offense to have a turnover, and they wound up still beating Houston by 18, 19 points. I mean, how serious is this team this year?
Oh, they're real serious. And the fact that they could cover the spread was, give or take 15, 16, depending on where you got it in what bookie situation. The fact that they create 3 turnovers and then still cover the spread like that just goes to show you how in-depth their team is from top to bottom. I mean, the first interception was Michael Floyd's fault. He missed that. He should have caught the ball. It tipped. And anytime you get a tip ball, it's a plus for the defense. But they were able to take advantage of that. They picked that one. Tom Brady, 100%. The other one was his fault. 2 interceptions there. And then Dion Lewis. It was a Dion Lewis show. He literally had a little bit of everything. He ran the kickoff back for a touchdown. He had a rushing touchdown. He had a receiving touchdown. And he had a fumble. I mean, so mostly good. A little bit of bad mixed in. The defense played great. And then we also had we were fortunate enough to have a couple of big drops on the Texans side that, it could have been a little bit of a closer game. But despite that, came out unscathed pretty much for the most part. Injury-wise, Hogan a little banged up, but we're all right.
I mean, 11 AFC championship games for this New England team under Brady and Belichick. 6 in a row, AFC championships in a row. You, as a Patriots fan, said something last night that kind of puzzled me a little bit. When we were watching the game, you were like, as a fan, I really need to soak this in because we don't know if we're ever going to see this again in our lifetime. And I'm just looking at it like, how can you say that? This is just Brady being Brady. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, this is what we've come to expect as a New England Patriots, the organization, the team. So talk to me from the fan perspective because I'm an outsider looking in here. And like I said, I just expect naturally every year the Patriots, as long as Brady's quarterbacking and Belichick's coaching, I fully expect them to win their division. I fully expect them to either have the first or second seed in the postseason, and I fully expect them to be in the AFC Championship game.
Yeah, but for you to say it's probably not going to happen again is very true. And that's why you have to look at it from a fan standpoint. You know, I count my blessings pretty much every day that I was able to adopt this team at a young age and really follow this team back, Drew Bledsoe, and when we got spanked by the Packers, actually, back in '98. That's Super Bowl. But you know what? Even when we were terrible and the Colts were on our division back then, I still wear my Patriots jerseys to school, and everybody used to laugh at me. But I've been doing a lot of laughing over the years, and like I said, it puts it into perspective over the long haul. There's going to come a point in time where Tom Brady's no longer under center, and, we might go through some struggles that a lot of teams go through. So, as a fan for me right now, I just kind of have to sit back and in awe of what's going on and then know that, it's probably not going to happen ever again.
All right. Pinto, let me ask you your perspective on what you saw last night when it comes to the Texans and the Patriots.
What I saw is New England has a really good defense. I mean, normally it's been Brady bailing them out week after week, year after year. This year they actually have a good defense to where if Brady's not being Brady, which he was not last night, the defense can actually stop people to where when Brady finally gets it together, they can put points on the board.
Right. Kristen, let me ask you, Brock Osweiler, the Houston Texans paid him all this money. There's been some, I think, internal conflict between Bill O'Brien and the Texans organization to where Bill O'Brien, even though he has said that he is going to remain with the Texans, I think any given time he might change his mind and decide to leave. So talk to me about the future of the Houston Texans. More importantly, where do they go from here?
I don't think Bill O'Brien is the problem. Brock Osweiler sucks. He's horrible.
Right,
He's absolutely horrible. I don't know why they should have benched him or put Tom Savage back in. Something must be really wrong with Savage, because for them to keep playing Osweiler and he's playing so horribly and just there were a couple of drops, as you mentioned, that were not his fault, but they are a good defense, number one defense, and they pressured Tom Brady hard. New England needs to protect Brady better if they're going to make it to the Super Bowl. And, I mean, he could have gotten hurt on a few of those plays, but it's not Bill O'Brien who's the problem. It's Osweiler. He is horrible. They need to cut ties with him. And if they want to be a contender, just lose the money and cut ties with him.
But here's the thing. They're in a division that right now, the only team that I think is going to be maybe a factor in the next, I'll say, couple of years is Tennessee. Now, granted, with all the coaching changes that are going on, we don't know what to expect from Jacksonville. And Indianapolis, I'm sorry, they're the senior citizens of the NFL right now with the guys that they have in there playing on both the offensive and defensive sides of the ball. So they committed Brock Osweiler to this money. They have Tom Savage, who has shown that he can be a solid backup. Do they kind of run the course with him and say, okay, we know over the next 2 years we're going to be in contention to, at the very least, win our division, unless Tennessee has just a turnaround year or Jacksonville gets hot like they should have this year. Thank you very much, Gus Bradley, for that one. But I just want to know from you, they can still pull it out with Brock Osweiler because we've seen flashes. We've seen moments of him have that intensity, have that $72 million mentality that he is paid for. When it, like, he is hurting them more than he's helping them every single game. He's turning the ball over. He's not good. I just don't think he's good. Right. And I think he's horrible, and they have to move on him because they have a great defense. They have a lot of talent. They have Miller. They have Hopkins. Tom Savage was targeting Hopkins way more. Osweiler did a little bit yesterday. We'll have to say he's getting better, but he's just hurting this team way too much. He's bringing them down. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, Houston's a quarterback away almost. A quarterback and a couple pieces on the offensive line. Their defense is top-notch. They did this without J.J. Watt the entire season pretty much. Jadeveon Clowney is finally coming into his own and showing why they picked him so early in the draft. A.J. Boye, the rookie cornerback, playing out of his mind. Jonathan Joseph on the other side. So their defense is stout. The problem is it's a kind of a mixed bag of tricks right now with Brock Osweiler. You really don't know how he's going to play from week to week, and you can't expect a team to be dominant over the long haul of the season when you don't know really what to expect. Could throw for 300 one week, could throw 3 or 4 interceptions the next. And that was kind of what we saw last night. There was flashes here and there, but at first he started the game pretty shaky. I mean, he was throwing balls into the dirt. He had the 3 interceptions. Kudos to the Patriots defense for playing well, but at the same time, you expect a little bit more than somebody that you paid $17 million for.
Yeah, true.
But they're going to give him another season because they gave him $17 million. I'm assuming, based on what I think, is they're going to give him the starting reign coming into next season, and then about week 6 or so, we'll see what happens. If he's playing terrible, they're going to pull him and then cut bait with him.
All right.
But they don't need a great quarterback to win. All they need somebody is not to turn the ball over. Look at the Baltimore Ravens when they won it. They had Trent Dilfer. All they asked him to do is don't screw up, and the defense will win the game. The Texans are almost there with their defense. All they need is somebody not to throw 16 interceptions in a year. He only had 15 touchdowns. That's it. That's horrible. All they need is a game manager, and they'll be right there again. So why give him another chance? Go get somebody else.
I agree. So what I'm hearing from the three of you is essentially Craig is the only one, from what I understand, saying let him play at least the first third of the season next season to see where he's at. And if he doesn't produce,
Craig is hungover today also. Craig's brain is not working today. So
no, but with that said, I'm not saying that I think that they should do that. I'm saying they will because they paid him so much money.
Okay. All right. So everybody here, including the great Al Bushman, is saying basically they need to cut ties with Brock Osweiler. They need to roll with Tom Savage or go against somebody in the draft, or maybe they can be fortunate to pick up somebody who they feel is going to be better suited for Houston. So let me ask the three of you.
Well, Kristen hit the nail on the head, too. To have a wide receiver the caliber as DeAndre Hopkins, and you can't get this guy the football. Brian Hoyer, Brandon Weeden, Ryan Mallett, they all didn't have issues getting him the football. And then, Mr. $17 million man does. Someone texted me last night. They said, how did this guy get paid this much money? And I said, well, as a kid, he attended the Matt Flynn football camp. That's how he got paid this much money, because he's just straight stealing money.
Okay, so then I'm going to ask the three of you. Who right now, or could it be in the draft, who does Houston need to go get? Let's take who right now in the NFL. Who do you think would be best fit for the scheme that's going to be available this offseason? Ladies first.
I was going to say Tony Romo. Although it did come out today he wants to go to Denver, but Denver I don't think is going to take him. But Romo. Absolutely. Just for a year, maybe someone else comes out of the draft, a year or two, get this offense back on track. But I think he's the best fit.
All right, Craig?
I would have to agree with that.
All right.
If you want a short-term answer, I would have to agree with that. I think Tony Romo's a good fit. He alluded to somebody that doesn't turn the ball over. Jay Cutler would be a decent fit, but turns the ball over too much.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
I wouldn't go that route.
Exactly.
No.
If you wanted to go a younger route, Bill O'Brien does know the Patriot system. Garoppolo's been in it. That's if you want to give up a first-round pick. That's out there as well. I kind of don't see that happening because I think he's going to end up somewhere else. But, there are options out there.
Do you think that maybe your third string for the Patriots, Jacoby Brissett, do you think he might be able to get a shot at being
No, I think they're going to end up trading Garoppolo, and I think they're going to end up trading him to either Chicago, Cleveland, or
Arizona?
49ers. Yeah, so I think he's going to end up in one of those three places. But I think they drafted Jacoby Brissett knowing that they were probably going to trade Jimmy Garoppolo this offseason. So I think he'll be the backup in New England.
Okay. All right.
What about Tyrod Taylor from Buffalo? I don't think he's going to be there, and he doesn't turn the ball over, and that's really all they need.
True.
He can get the ball to Hopkins. He did it to Watkins, and Watkins is worse, I think, than Hopkins because Hopkins can stay on the field.
And he is a scrambling quarterback, so he adds that second dimension as far as not just being a pocket passer. He can actually scramble and make some noise. So, all right.
Another option, too, is to see if you can maybe pry an A.J. McCarron from the Cincinnati Bengals for, maybe a couple of draft picks and see what you can squeeze out of him. Because, be it little time that he was playing when Dalton went down, he played very well in Cincinnati. So I think that he has the talent to possibly be a starter in the NFL.
I agree. I'm glad you said that because that was something I was going to mention. It's like this guy is just sitting there, and to me right now it's wasted talent. I think A.J. McCarron, I think he needs to get his shot in the limelight. I think out of a lot of quarterbacks who are playing backup right now, if I had to pick someone to come in and, basically say, okay, listen, I'm going to give you this opportunity. You showed me what you could do in the limited role that you played in Cincinnati. So let me see what you can do when you have a full season, when you have a team that's behind you, when you have weapons to work with.
Let me ask you guys this, and I think his reign has come to an end in San Francisco. Do you see Colin Kaepernick being a fit for not only this team but any of the other teams that are out there looking for a quarterback?
I don't think anyone wants to take the risk on this guy. The negative attention with the national anthem thing he brought already, and he's okay. He's a game manager, but I just think that people want to stay away from him.
I agree.
What about Mike Glennon from Tampa Bay?
See, I heard something that Mike Glennon was supposed to be signing like this huge deal in the offseason. I don't know if it's going to be with Tampa or it's going to be with someone else, but there had been rumors that Mike Glennon was supposed to be getting this big deal.
What kind of deal is that? Is he going to be in the next the sequel to Napoleon Dynamite or what? Because that's a big deal, I guess.
No, it's not that I believe everything I read on Facebook, but I did do some investigation. I figured you, of all people, Great L. Bushman, would come to the table with this and let us know.
You did some investigating?
I did. I did some research. I was looking.
The only thing I saw was that article on Facebook.
All right. Well, I saw it not just on Facebook. I did see it actually on your website, Buccaneers.com. There was a small article about it. So, all right. Well, it's on the website of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. What am I supposed to do? All right, fine. So, ladies and gentlemen, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers website is not a credible source for Buccaneer information. We just wanted to let you know that. All right, let's talk about the other game that happened yesterday. And I have to be the first to sit here and admit I gave them crap all season long. And I said they were not the team that I thought they were going to be. I said that they were going to just get to the postseason, be out in the first round. They have proved me wrong, so I have to show some love to the Atlanta Falcons and say this team this year looks not only legit, but they actually look like they might make it to the Super Bowl this year. So, I mean, and on the flip side, Seattle, y'all just don't have it. I think this is the end. I think we've seen without Earl Thomas, the Seattle Seahawks, they're a shell of themselves. They couldn't get anything going last night. I'm watching the quote-unquote Legion of Boom try to just get to Matt Ryan. I mean, Julio Jones against Richard Sherman. Frank hit the nail on the head when he said, just put Julio on the opposite side because Sherman only plays one side of the field. Mohamed Sanu had a great game. That running tandem of, Devontae Freeman and Tevin Coleman. Listen, I'll say it. Atlanta looks legit this year. They really do.
Kyle Shanahan deserves all the credit developing these schemes to get these guys open. That touchdown pass to Coleman was amazing. You don't really see that out of the backfield often. Matt Ryan's been awesome this whole year. He's the best quarterback this year in the NFL. He should win the MVP. If he doesn't, I'm going to be totally surprised. On the other hand, Atlanta has not beaten that many good teams, and Seattle kind of isn't that great. Their division sucks, so they won the division. They've been an enigma all year. They scored, was it 5 points against Tampa, I believe they scored? 5 points. So Atlanta, okay, the other thing is their offensive line, I think, could compare to Dallas's offensive line right now. They played every single game together. They're protecting Matt Ryan. But I got to give all the credit to Kyle Shanahan. If he does not get this 49ers job, I don't know, maybe he just wants to stay with Atlanta. That's true. Maybe he wants to stay with Atlanta. But he's developing these schemes where, he's stacking them and stacking the receivers and getting Jones open. And they're like you said, they're an offensive force, and they can go pretty deep in this playoffs. I think they are going to be a good matchup against either the Packers or Dallas.
Oh, yeah, we've seen a decline right now in the Seattle Seahawks defense. For their offense to spot them a quick 7 points and for them to just self-destruct like that, Richard Sherman, he didn't have a good game yesterday. You can say what you want, but, we've seen with no Earl Thomas what that defense is. So I really think that, the Atlanta offense – I would say this about the Atlanta offense. Outside of maybe, New England, I don't know if there's another offense that utilizes all the pieces, down to their third, fourth, fifth wide receiver, both running backs. I mean, you're seeing Justin Hardy make plays, Taylor Gabriel make plays, the tight end make plays. They do a great job, and give it up to Kyle Shanahan for doing a good job of utilizing his roster from top to bottom, whereas other teams, you kind of know what you get going in, top two receivers mostly, maybe the top running back, but this team utilizes their entire skill set as the roster breaks down. And I think on defense, you've seen a lot of improvement this year. And kudos to them because they're a powerhouse right now. And I don't think either team playing today wants to see them next week because that's a hard offense to stop. And neither team playing today has a great defense.
Yeah, that's very true.
No, but Dallas has a way to keep Atlanta off the field, and that's just running the ball, eating up the clock, and that'll keep Atlanta off the field. That's how you beat Atlanta. You have to keep their offense off the field. That's the only way you beat them.
And actually, it's funny you said that because Seattle came out just running Thomas Rawls. I think he had like 7 or 8 carries on that first drive, and they milked the clock. They went down and scored a touchdown. And then for whatever reason, Atlanta goes down and scores, and then all of a sudden Russell Wilson's in the shotgun passing the ball 3 out of every 4 times down. You know what I'm saying? And they totally want to get away from their game plan.
You said Kyle Shanahan. I got to show a lot of love to Dan Quinn because coming from Seattle, he knew this team. But to see how he basically dismantled them on the defensive side of the ball, I was impressed. More importantly, Vic Beasley, did he really play that much last night? I remember seeing him on the sideline kind of, first half and a little bit, but I'll tell you what, that Atlanta defense, we've definitely got to show a lot of love to them because for everything that we talk about and all the weapons that Matt Ryan has on the offensive side of the ball, they held their own against a very questionable Seattle offense, and I was surprised by it more than anything. But like I said in the beginning, they look legit. I agree with you. I don't think either Green Bay or Dallas really wants to see Atlanta. We know one of them's going to, but I just think that maybe this is the year. Maybe this is the time that they've turned the page. I'm starting to become a believer, but I don't know.
Well, I got to say, too, after seeing both games, the slate of games yesterday, again, 2 blowouts when it came down to it, the whole first wildcard weekend, all blowouts, I think finally next week we're going to have 2 really, really good games. I think both of them are going to be close regardless of who wins today in either game. My
question to you guys is, who is the best quarterback now left? We have 6 teams left. They all have great quarterbacks. I almost have to say Matt Ryan. I mean, there's Aaron Rodgers, there's Tom Brady, there's so many good guys, but Matt Ryan is just playing.
What is that?
I don't know.
Is that vodka or water you're drinking?
I don't know. He's looking good. He's finding these open guys. Like I said, the credit's to Shanahan, but there are a lot of good quarterbacks left. And who's your pick? You're going to say Tom Brady.
Well, of course,
right?
I'm biased, yeah. But I mean, if it wasn't that, I would go like straight up. Best quarterback totality, Aaron Rodgers. But Matt Ryan, every team with a good quarterback's advanced so far.
Yes.
So if that holds true today, we'll see if it happens. But if it does, then it would be Green Bay and it would be Pittsburgh.
Yes.
I agree, but I believe right now Aaron Rodgers is the best quarterback in the league right now.
Yeah, and that's my pick.
He's just on fire. Doesn't matter who's playing wide receiver anymore. He's just going to get them the ball somehow, some way.
Yeah, that's my pick.
Yeah, you got a guy named Geronimo Allen catching passes now. I mean, I swear, Green Bay and Pittsburgh do the best. They do the best at getting these wide receivers that nobody's heard of, and then they're just producing, and then all of a sudden they're household names in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
I have to say Pats do the same thing. I didn't want to pat you on the back too much there. But.
Well, other people have to say that. I can't talk about my team too much.
I'll do it for you, Craig. Don't worry about it. But Aaron Rodgers, along with Pinto, is my pick. I've watched him start the season not great. And then all of a sudden something happens with him towards week 9, 10, 11, where I guess either A, he just wakes up, or B, the intensity gets to him finally, or he just says, you know what, I've been playing my style of game for the first half of the season. Now let me show you when I turn it up to a whole nother level. Let me show you what I can do. So I think we're going to see that today against Dallas. But out of the 6 quarterbacks left right now, solid. I think Aaron Rodgers is definitely the best quarterback. Man, great stuff to start the show. Let's take our first break. When we come back, we're going to touch on some of these coaching changes that have been made in the NFL. Folks, you are listening to us here at Old School Bar and Grill, 1991 Main Street, right across from the beautiful Hollywood 20. This is Whole Nother Level. I got Pinto, Craig, Kristen, the great Al Bushman, and your man Eric. And welcome back to Whole Nother Level right here at Old School, 1991 Main Street, beautiful downtown Sarasota next to the Hollywood 20. This is Whole Nother Level. I got our man, special guest Pinto in the building with us. We got Craig, Kristen, the great Al Bushman, and your man Eric. So let's keep the show going. Big shout out to everybody joining us here. And I want to talk about a couple changes that we know are being made in the NFL. First and foremost, please tell me why San Diego, the Chargers, not only are they moving to Los Angeles, but they've basically copied the logo of the Dodgers and the Lightning and just made a lightning bolt with the L to make the A. What?
That was so embarrassing. They changed it 3 times on Twitter. The tweets are deleted. That's a mess already.
I know. When I first saw that logo and then I immediately saw something to go along with it, it was hilarious. It said, like, when you copy your friend's homework, but you tell them to make it look a little different. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and they put that logo out there. I mean, that's just ugly. It's just ugly, and it just looks like, I mean, come on. Really? You can't get more original than that?
I think it goes with the whole theme of them moving. It's all ugly. Everything about it is just ugly. And
Two teams in Los Angeles now. I mean, we saw how good that worked in the past. Pretty sure they had 2 teams back then, and they both ended up leaving. And then, you leave St. Louis, and then you leave San Diego, a fan base that's actually built around that team, has tradition there. I just think it's sad for the fan base, but it's all about money when it comes down to it. They're building that huge stadium in Los Angeles that's going to host both teams, I believe. So it's going to be like the Meadowlands for the Giants and the Jets, but it's going to be, an immaculate stadium.
Right, but at least with the Giants and the Jets, you're playing with 2 teams, each in different conferences.
And in a market that cares about football.
Thank you. But this is 2 teams in the same division playing in the same stadium. So, I mean, honestly, it's like when one team's home and one team's away, does it really matter? I mean, think about it. The Chargers and the Rams are going to play each other twice a year. Well, yeah, twice a year.
Are you
4 times?
What are you drinking over there, bro?
I'm just saying.
The Chargers and the Rams aren't in the same division?
No. They're not?
The Rams are in the NFC, and the Chargers in the AFC.
Yeah, I guess
Eric drank a little bit too much last night, but wait, we're going to get him on the right track. But yeah, the fact that they have 2 teams in there, a city that doesn't really care about football, but I will give them credit. They're going to sell all the suites because they have the money to do so. So all those businesses and all the money that they have out there, the suites will always be sold. Yeah.
At least it's, up the road. Chargers fans that are diehard fans can still make the drive up to L.A. When the Browns left Cleveland, it was the worst thing ever. I was 12 or 13 years old, and I just remember the city being so deflated. It was like
Tom Brady's football.
Don't use that word.
It's like the city's grandpa just died or something. Everyone was depressed. Everyone was sad. It was just a town without football. So that was horrible, and I know the feeling. So I feel it for Chargers fans, but at least, they're somewhat close by. St. Louis was a lot further away.
Listen, the fact that they're moving these 2 teams, I think that there was better choices as far as coming up with how about this? How about instead of having teams that are making the playoffs at like 8-8 or 7-9, doing away with the divisions, going just with a straight AFC and NFC, and adopting 2 new teams. So moving from 32 to 34 teams, and putting a team in Los Angeles instead of moving a team that's already built into. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I think that would not only would you have 2 new teams for people to build around. And if you want to put one in Mexico City or if you want to put one in London, because let's be honest, there's going to be one in London soon. That's why they keep playing the games there, and that stadium is triple the size of a normal NFL stadium, and it sells out every single time. And again, it's all about money. So they're eventually going to adopt a team there anyways, regardless of traveling. They might have to add in another bye week or something like that, but I just think it's unfortunate the way that this came down. And I guess now the Raiders are probably moving to Las Vegas.
That was my next point. Where's Carl at? Is he outside still? I didn't see. Oh, there he is. Carl, we got to talk to you, my brother, because I'm sure you heard the news. Your Raiders are going to Las Vegas in the next 3 to 5 years, and I want to talk to you about this because tradition now has finally started to make its way back to Oakland. You've got a great team, a team that was, in the process of going to the postseason. You made it to the postseason, and I truly believe that if you had Derek Carr this year, you guys would be en route to the AFC Championship game. So now we find out that in the next 3 to 5, the stadium's being built. You're moving to Vegas. I want to hear from you. How are you feeling about this? Okay. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, the owner of Old School, where we're at every Sunday. Give it up for our man Carl with us.
How you doing?
Good.
How you doing? Quickly, I'm a little sad because Oakland has had a tradition there. It's an old school franchise. It sucks a little bit. It does, but it's Las Vegas. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I feel bad for the fans of Oakland because it all got up the politics of it. With the stadium and the money and everything. And Oakland's not the nicest city in the whole world either.
No.
You're going to have to retire all your old gear, though, because it's no longer just going to say Oakland Raiders. It'll say
None
Las
of my
Vegas
gear says
Raiders.
Oakland. It says Raiders.
There you go.
You would know, Craig. You wore
Oh,
some
yeah, you
of it.
wore a hat, didn't you?
But you know what? I mean, it was black and gray.
You still... You,
Not
trying to
too
forget
bad.
about it.
I had the Marcus Allen jersey on, though, so.
I'm still a little hurt about what is it, the tuck rule? Is that what it was called?
Yeah.
I'm still a little
Solid
butthurt
rule.
after that.
It's such a solid rule.
Yeah. Actually, the rule's no more now, by the way.
I
so.
know. But
Dynasty.
we sucked everything we could out of that rule.
Yes,
so.
you did.
yeah, you did for
Yes,
as
you
long
did.
as you could. All right,
But
well,
Raider Nation, you guys. Raider Nation.
of course, ladies and gentlemen, that's the owner, Carl. Give it up for him one time, man. Appreciate you chiming in with us. So, all right, how do you guys feel about the Raiders going to Vegas in a couple years?
The problem I see is they really don't have a home crowd there. I mean, are the people that live there going to go to the games, or is it going to be more of the people visiting Las Vegas going to the games?
Yeah, probably.
So what
ones
crowd
visiting.
is going to be there?
Very
You
true.
know, if they're
Yeah.
playing in Dallas, is it going to be a Dallas home field? Because everybody that's there is rooting for Dallas? I mean,
Yeah,
time's
no.
going to tell, but I mean, that's the way I look at it.
Good, very good question. What's the, they're bringing in this new stadium, and they're trying to get the fans to adopt to it and say, okay, this is what's good for the team. But you're absolutely right. I think it's going to be more about what team is coming in as opposed to a bunch of people from Nevada coming in and basically saying, we're Raiders fans.
Yeah, it's going to be another show. Britney Spears has her show in Vegas. The Raiders are going to have their show in Vegas. It's another ticket, another show, another form of entertainment.
All right.
It's another excuse to go to Vegas now. Hey, let's go watch, New England. Let's go watch, L.A. play. Let's go watch New York play now and have a good time in Vegas while you're there.
Yeah, I definitely
might be
would
the highest
go.
ticket sales.
Yeah, I would go to a Browns game in Vegas before I would go to a Browns game in Cleveland right now, probably.
Wow.
Just because you know what you could do with the rest of your time. when you're not
Browns
at the
fan
game.
tickets are actually cheaper than Vegas. But sure, go to Vegas. Go ahead. Have fun. Have fun with that.
Yeah,
All right.
Yeah, I'd be interested to hear from someone that actually lives in Vegas and see like how excited they are about a team coming there and how much support you would think that they would get or bring to a local team that's going to be their team. I kind of tend to agree with you, Pinto, that it's going to be a lot of transplants, a lot of people just moving through, buying those tickets. But I think the ticket sales for that stadium are going to be higher than most stadiums just because they can do that in Vegas.
Right.
Everything's expensive in Vegas.
Exactly. And so, like you said, Pinto, time will tell. We shall see. All right, let's talk about these coaching changes that have happened in the NFL. And I want to start with San Diego. Well, they're no longer San Diego. The L.A. Chargers. Anthony Lynn has been brought in as their new head coach. Now, this guy was the coach in Buffalo under Rex Ryan, and I guess he was just biding his time. But now he gets the shot to be the head coach. How do you three think he's going to fare with the Chargers?
It's interesting because as of week 2, he was still a running backs coach. They fired their offensive coordinator. He became the offensive coordinator. So he's only been a coordinator for 15 weeks in the NFL. He asked the interviewers the question, what do you want in a coach? And LA had to sell themselves on Anthony Lynn, but they want someone who's disciplined, a leader, and can relate to the younger players. So I'm excited to see it. They have a young defense on the rise. If he can turn things around with Phillip Rivers, they have a great running back already in Gordon, and he's a running backs coach, so maybe he can develop Melvin Gordon even further. I'm excited to see it. I don't know much about him, but I think it could be a good thing.
Yeah, I think he's actually coming into a good situation, although, the move could be a little bit of a kind of a roadblock because you don't really know what's going on there. I've heard that they're going to play in almost like a college stadium. It's going to be like 30,000 people so they're gonna sell it out, not have no problem selling it out every week. But I mean, you have Phillip Rivers, so you have somebody that's going to be under center that can get it done for you. You're going to have Keenan Allen back. They had so many injuries this year, so I think we saw what Joey Bosa did this year. Although he missed time in the offseason, he came in and balled when he got the opportunity to do so. As far as head coaching, like you said, Kristen, I don't know a lot about him, but I'm listening to people compare him to a young Mike Tomlin. And if that's the case, then they're getting a really good coach. I haven't seen enough of him to think that. So I kind of look at it and kind of I don't really know if I like the coaching hire, but I'm going to give him the opportunity to show me before I make any judgment.
All right.
Agreed. And the best thing he's got going for him is Phillip Rivers. I mean, he's been in the league a while. He knows what he's doing. he doesn't need any coaching. He knows what he's doing. He's just got to worry about the defense, getting the defense.
Philip Rivers
better.
sucks. My dad wants to chime in.
Hey, he's the only QB
Kristen,
in the NFL that wears
not
a bolo.
only do I love you, but I also love your parents. Philip Rivers sucks. Thank you very much. Yes.
Eric, numbers don't lie, man. Numbers don't lie.
Whatever. I still don't like him. But, Pinto, let me ask you about another guy here. Youngest head coach ever in NFL history. Sean McVay is going to take over. Exactly. Thank you, Carl. Exactly. Sean McVay, now the head coach of the LA Rams. Can he turn around and fix what Jeff Fisher basically screwed up in LA with Jared Goff and Todd Gurley and Tavon Austin and the rest of this crew?
I mean, he basically took Kirk Cousins and made him a pretty good quarterback in this league. So I'm assuming he can probably do that with Jared Goff, because Jared Goff has some more ability than I think Kirk Cousins does. The only problem is they don't have the playmakers yet. I mean, Gurley, yes, but he had a horrible year, and I don't see a number one receiver there. They have a bunch of number 2s and number 3s there. They need a number 1 guy.
Okay. They can address those needs in the draft.
Correct.
They might be able to pick somebody up in free agency. But you have a young nucleus. We expected more out of Todd Gurley, as to your point. Like you said, they've got Britt. They've got Tavon Austin. I'm very interested to see, but I want to speak to Sean McVay. You said he transformed Kirk Cousins and made him a good, solid quarterback in the NFL. The fact that Jared Goff didn't really sniff the field until the last third of the season, I'm just curious, what can we expect from him in week 2 under first-year head coach Sean McVay?
Well, best case scenario for them is, Sean McVay is an Adam Gase type of a head coach where he really works well and develops a quarterback. Like you said, he did a good job with Kirk Cousins, but I personally think Kirk Cousins was going to get that job done anyways. I liked him in Michigan State. I think that he was, there's a reason why they drafted him in the 4th round when they went ahead and took RG3 in the 1st. They believed in him early on over there in Washington. So it's going to be interesting. 31 years old. I mean, wow, he's younger than me. It's nuts.
Yeah,
it's absolutely nuts. He's going to have to go in there, no nonsense, and demand respect. And if he can do that with the locker room right off rip, then he'll gain it. But you can't go in there and be timid and expect to gain respect from these veterans that are actually older than you.
Right.
So, he has to get in there, hit the ground running. And I actually think that they have a talented roster. One of the great things that he already did is hired Wade Phillips as defensive coordinator. Awesome defensive coordinator, and they're putting him with a great defense. When you have Aaron Donald and them boys that can get to the quarterback, you have a good secondary. I mean, that's already put in place. So now that has – he doesn't have to look at that anymore. So now he can just focus strictly on the offense. Like you said, bring in a number 1 receiver. Alshon Jeffries is a free agent. Bring in a Brandon Marshall. He's a free agent. Someone like that. Go draft a number 1 in the draft. You have Kenny Britt. You have Tavon Austin. You have Brian Quick and some of these other ones. Lance Kendricks, decent. Todd Gurley's going to be fine. I just don't think he was utilized right, and they never utilized Tavon Austin right. So if somebody can get him back to his human joystick that he was at West Virginia, they're going to be fine.
See, Craig just loves to take my notes. I was going to say, Kristen, we go from the youngest head coach to one of the older head coaches in the NFL. They brought in Wade Phillips, but Craig just took that whole thing away. So,
And McVay's own words is that he wants to form an offensive identity, which I think is exactly what LA needs. Goff was one of the most pressured quarterbacks last year. He just needs to get these guys together, get them on the same page. He has the talent there. If he can form this identity, and maybe being younger will be a good thing, that he can identify with some of these younger players. And so he's Kirk Cousins called him the most detailed-oriented coach he's ever had. So, he's going to have to look at these details, form their identity, and bringing in Wade Phillips, he's not going to have to worry about the defense, like you said, so he can solely focus on the offense.
Well,
okay. Go ahead, Craig.
I mean, listen, for what he's going to bring to that team and where they're at, he can't do any worse than Jeff Fisher. I mean, we can all agree on that at least.
Yeah.
And they should have played Jared Goff from day 1. So he's going to be the starter week 1 of next week, and we'll see what happens there. Because we already knew Case Keenum wasn't getting the job done. So they basically gave up on the season before it started this year under Jeff Fisher.
And the division isn't that good.
Right. The division's completely
division's
open.
not that good, so
my question is, crystal ball it for me really quick. Next year, Rams defense under Wade Phillips. Are they a top 10 defense, yes or no?
I say yeah, without a doubt.
Okay.
I think they're close anyways.
I would say yes, but if Goff turns the ball over, it's going to put the defense in short situations, so I don't know yet.
Okay, Kristen?
I can't answer that. I don't know. I see them maybe being a 500 team next year, getting a little bit better.
Well, I was talking specifically about the defense. Will they be ranked in the top 10?
There's not that many dominant defenses out there right now. So,
All right.
yeah, I could see it.
So we're giving them the benefit of the doubt. Pinto is not. That's fine. So let's jump to a team that probably needs just as much help as San Francisco, but at least this team actually does have a head coach. Sean McDermott, a name that I know personally very well from his days back in Philadelphia. He has agreed to be the Buffalo Bills' next head coach. Craig, this is a team in your division. What do you expect out of Buffalo this year?
Not much.
Okay. All right.
I mean, I don't. They have talent on the roster, but first off, you have to look at the quarterback position. What are they going to do?
Right.
Are they going to stick with Tyrod Taylor, and is he going to take a contract, like a pay cut, or sign a contract moving forward to maybe a $10 million deal range? Because I don't think they're going to give him $15, $20 million. So, first off, they have to figure that situation out. You got Sammy Watkins, but he's always banged up. You don't have any other to happen over there. And they were just a train wreck this season under Rex Ryan. I don't know. He's going into a tough spot.
Well, he brought in...
You know him as a head coach and a coach in general better than I.
Well, he was never a head coach in Philadelphia.
Yeah,
but I do know him from his days as being a coach in Philadelphia on the defensive side of the ball, and he learned under the late, great Jim Johnson. So I expected him, I would look at him more of a defensive guy. However, Leslie Frazier leaving Baltimore and now going to Buffalo to
I
be
do like that
coordinator.
move because I like Leslie Frazier, as a defensive coordinator. I think that there's a lot of coordinators getting good looks right now on these new teams. So they're coming in and making transitions or changes that they need to make. Is that me, this feedback? Okay,
no, we're all good.
But, I just kind of tend to think that New England's going to be there again. Miami's gotten better. We saw that this season. I don't really know what to expect from the Jets, but I'm thinking Buffalo's going to be about a 500 team.
Okay. All right, Pinto, what about you?
The problem with Buffalo is 2 years ago they had the number 3 ranked defense, and Rex Ryan was supposed to come in and he's a defensive guy, and the defense got worse every year. That's what they need to go back to: running the football, playing defense, and getting some quarterback. I don't know who the hell they're going to get. I mean, Tyrod did a good job. I mean, he did what they asked him to do, and granted, I wouldn't pay him that much money either. It's not worth it. But they need to go back to running the ball and playing defense, and that's what this guy does. He was a defensive coordinator. Get the defense back to where it was and stay in some games. Stop going against your identity and trying to throw the ball 50 times when you don't have a quarterback that can do it.
Okay.
I agree. I think that by bringing them in, they're trying to do what Rex Ryan didn't do. And they have the same plan when they did bring Rex Ryan in. But McDermott, in his tenure in Carolina, did develop guys like Josh Norman, Luke Kuechly. He has done, some positive things. So we'll see how he does. See how, the offense does need a lot of pieces, but he is
whose name I've alluded this whole entire segment. I'm kind of happy, but it's the great Al Bushman's favorite coach in the entire NFL, Josh McDaniels. He's changed his mind. The great Al Bushman is saying that Josh McDaniels is staying put. He's not going anywhere. I think there's somebody on the... Well, wait a minute. Okay, but before you say that, there was a conversation that I had last night with a certain member of this panel. So I kind of want him to explain his scenario to the great Al Bushman. Craig?
Yeah, hypothetically, it is a good situation for him because what they would do is hire Josh McDaniels over there, and then they have the number 2 overall pick. They also have the 34th overall pick. So you could either send the 34th overall pick with a collection of a couple others, or the number 2 overall pick to Jimmy Garoppolo, which you just coached. You know exactly what he does, his intangibles, and what he can bring to that team. So you have a new head coach working with a new quarterback over there in San Francisco. I think that would be the best case scenario. But I think it's either going to be him or Kyle Shanahan that take that job, and honestly, it's a coin flip at this point. But I think it's a good hire for San Francisco either way.
Does that change your mind at all, great Al Bushman?
No.
Okay. You're saying so.
I knew he wasn't going to, just based on his.
To deal with those owners, hell no.
So you're finally off the whole Josh McDaniels going here, there, and everywhere.
I know. To be honest with you, looking at those two guys, Shanahan and McDaniels, I don't see either one of them going. Staying put.
I agree. It's a bad
So
situation.
It's just a bad situation with that
been saying this for how long now? How many times have I said to
saying
you?
You're wrong.
Well, yeah, but you've been going with me back and forth saying, oh, he's going here, he's going there, he's doing this. I'm like, no. Josh McDaniels is going to say, will you just finally admit that I was right?
So who's going to be the coach then?
No one cares at this point. Hold on. I just want the great Al Bushman to admit on our show, whole nother level, that I, in fact, was right.
You're not right yet because
Josh
there's still a
McDaniels-
job opening available.
I was right. That's all I'm saying. Try and cut my mic off if you want to. But all right, so let's talk about the Denver Broncos. The Broncos actually hired Vance Joseph to replace Vance Joseph to replace Gary Kubiak.
I am so confused on this one. Like, they could have gone with Shanahan, which was the perfect fit, and I'm just like, John Elway must really love this guy because the Dolphins' defense wasn't that good. We don't know much about him. He did coach under Wayne Phillips in Houston, so maybe he'll bring some of that continuity to the defense with Phillips leaving. But again, it's a wait and see for me. Even the people in Denver are like, what the hell? Who is this guy? What are we doing here?
Well, John Elway had to bring in somebody that he could kind of run the show because yeah, exactly. So he wants to bring in someone that he can kind of control, and he can do that with a young guy that nobody really expects much from. And he's going to have to listen to John Elway in making certain personnel decisions and coaching decisions. And I think that's why he didn't go for a bigger name. As far as him, he comes from a pretty good background. You just don't know what we're going to have yet from him, though. Like you said, the Miami Dolphins defense wasn't, spectacular this year. And I think what they needed more than anything is someone to come in there and develop either Paxton Lynch, Trevor Siemian, or who knows, they might bring in a Tony Romo. But still, that offense was the problem this year.
Yeah, I totally agree. John Elway wants to be a puppet master there. He wants somebody who's going to listen to what he wants to do. He doesn't want somebody telling him what to do, and that's why they went that way.
All right. So let me ask y'all about another person. Tom Coughlin. He is now the VP for Jacksonville. Doug Marrone is going to be the head coach, but Tom Coughlin back in Jacksonville. How do we feel about this hiring?
I think Tom Coughlin is a great hire. I'm glad he's not a head coach. I think at 70 years old, maybe, the front office is more of a position for him. Doug Marrone has been in the organization for 2 years, so he understands the frustrations of the fans, the players. And the owner actually said the 2 games he coached was kind of sealed the deal for him, which is weird to me that just a 2-game sample, which is such a small sample. But the owner said the team played different, had a different attitude with these 2 games. So I do like bringing up the guy that's been in the organization because I think there is a lot of potential in Jacksonville. So, I don't know. Tom Coughlin, though, great hire.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with it. I kind of liked it, too. I like that they brought Tom Coughlin in. I think he brings some history to the organization. People respect Tom Coughlin. He won Super Bowls with the New York Giants. He did well as a head coach previously with Jacksonville, the Keenan McCardell days, Jimmy Smith, Mark Brunell. I think that he's going to be all right. And Doug Marrone's not too bad, other than it's kind of a mystery that he left a position. I think it was Buffalo when they had a pretty good record that year and things were trending up and he just packed his bags and left. Well, I'm curious to see if things will be trending up in Jacksonville, but they better hope he doesn't do the same and leave him high and dry again.
No, Tom Coughlin was a great hire. The biggest problem they have is they need to figure out is Bortles the quarterback or not. Once they figure that out, the rest of the roster is not bad. They got a couple decent wide receivers. Defense is pretty good. Their biggest problem is they have a quarterback that throws it to the other team.
Yeah, and in the division, like we said earlier when we were talking about Houston, in a very winnable division, all you need is the right piece, and I agree with you. You have to decide whether you're going to fish or cut bait when it comes to Blake Bortles. I think that, Doug Marrone just might be the guy, but having the knowledge and the wisdom of a Tom Coughlin in your ear, I think is going to make Jacksonville. Craig, I think we were a year ahead of ourselves. I think we were a year ahead saying that Jacksonville was going to turn the page, make the postseason. I think next year
we were a coach ahead of ourselves.
Oh, yeah, that's true. All right, so let me ask you guys one question. I'm going to throw a name out there. Now that the Seattle Seahawks season is officially over, could Tom Cable, the offensive line coach, for Seattle, could he possibly slide in and take the job that nobody wants, the San Francisco 49ers? The interview's happening on Monday.
You're San Francisco. Why do you want him? The Seahawks offensive line was terrible. They couldn't protect Russell Wilson. Like, if you want to keep going down this terrible road of horrible football, then sure, hire him. But if you can get McDaniels or Shanahan, that's what you need. That's a home run.
Terrible hire. He's not going to get anything done over there in San Francisco. The roster's a complete mess, and he's not the type of coach to get to bring it from being a mess to being relevant again. If that happens, I don't see anything from San Francisco next year at all.
Okay.
No, San Francisco needs to make a splash. They need to hire a big name. That's what they need. They don't need somebody who was a coach, did a horrible job in Oakland, and now, like she said, offensive line coach when it's the worst offensive line in football. I mean, all that talent, and you can't protect a $20 million man?
Okay. So basically it's going to come down to either Kyle Shanahan or the Great L. Bushman's favorite guy, favorite coach, Josh McDaniels. One of those two are going to get a lot of money to basically take over this team and try to bring them back to relevance. That's what everybody's saying. So you might be right, Great L. Bushman. I don't know. Very rarely. Anyhow, all right, let's take another break. When we come back, we are going to break down the two games that are happening, and we're going to go backwards. We're going to do Kansas City, Pittsburgh first, and then, of course, since this is a go, Pack, go kind of bar, we're going to wrap it up with doing the Packers and the Cowboys. You are listening to us, whole nother level, right here at Old School.